A dedication to Ellen, Captain Jack Elliott, Queen of the Rockies. I do not fear man or devil. It is not in my blood. And if they can shoot any straighter or quicker than I, let them try it. For a 44 equalizes frail women and brute men. And all women ought to be able to protect themselves against such ruffians. Quoted by Ellen, Captain Jack Elliott, Queen of the Rockies. On November the 4th in 1842, an old West Anglo-American gold prospector and Indian fighter, Ellen Captain Jack Elliott, was born at the town of New Linthorn in Nottingham, England. As a young girl, Ellen encountered a gypsy queen who foretold of a life of tragedy and treasures. Who would have believed these predictions would have come true? Ellen met her future husband, Charles Jack, in 1860 while aboard the steamer James Foster. Once married, Ellen settled with Charles in New York, but soon he left the city and became a Navy captain during the Civil War. While he was gone, Ellen gave birth to their first daughter, and soon after the war, gave birth to a son. Tragedy struck when both children were lost to scarlet fever. Later, Ellen had two more daughters, losing one to scarlet fever. It was not long after these deaths that Captain Jack died of an enlarged heart. Ellen decided that she would head west and place her surviving daughter in the care of her sister-in-law. She established a thriving boarding house in Gunnison, Colorado, and began her search for treasure in the mines of Colorado. During one of her trips into the mountains, Ellen discovered the very profitable Black Queen silver mine. The mine provided Ellen with happiness as well as heartache. Several men proclaimed their love for her, but Ellen did not return that love until she met a man named Walsh. It turned out that Walsh was a con man, and he tried and failed to steal all of Ellen's wealth. Accomplished at handling pistols and rifles, Ellen had to use these weapons more than once throughout her life. The boom towns she traveled through required that she be ready to defend herself and face arrest for doing so. Of the numerous times she was arrested, Ellen was always justified in shooting the man or men who tried to steal, cheat, or kill her. Ellen spent the rest of her life prospecting in the Colorado area. It is said she always carried her pistol and her pickaxe with her no matter where she traveled. She met her early demise at the age of 78 when she died from the effects of leakage of the heart at Colorado Springs on June 17, 1921. This last photograph from a 1906 picture postcard depicts Captain Jack Elliott, Queen of the Rockies, at around the age of 64, holding her British Bulldog double-action .44 caliber revolver. I just thought everyone should understand and know who Captain Jack Ellen was. Molly Brant, Native American diplomat and spy. The daughter of a Mohawk chief in upstate New York and consort of a British dignitary, Molly went on to become an influential Native American leader in her own right and a lifelong loyalist to the British Crown before, during, and after the American Revolution. Born in 1736 at a time when the Mohawk, part of the larger Iroquois Federation of Tribes, were increasingly subject to European influence, Molly grew up in a Christian family. In 1754, at the age of 18, she accompanied a delegation of Mohawk elders to Philadelphia to discuss fraudulent land transactions, a movement that is cited as her first political activity. She met Sir William Johnson, a British officer during the French and Indian War, who had been appointed superintendent for Indian affairs for the northern colonies. After his wife died, she became his mistress, and although her race and class prevented them from being officially wed, they were common-law married and had 9 children together. Johnson had acquired 600,000 acres of land in Mohawk Valley, and Molly liked the other. She acquired 600,000 acres of land in Mohawk Valley, and Molly, like other women of her time, came to manage a large and complex household, entertaining dignitaries both European and Indian. Their partnership proved politically fruitful, giving Johnson a good connection to the powerful Iroquois tribes and earning Molly, who hailed from a maternal clan, increased in prestige as the influential voice for her people. During the Revolutionary War, Molly and her family, like many Indians, sided with the British, who promised to protect their lands and colonists' encroachment. Known as a persuasive speaker, she is credited with convincing the Iroquois leadership to fall in with the British camp. Throughout the war, she acted as a spy, passing intelligence about the movement of colonial forces to British forces, while providing shelter, food, and ammunition to the Loyalists. When they ended up on the losing side, Molly and her family fled for Canada, where she and other Loyalists established the town of Kingston. After the war, the British paid her a pension for her services, and there she remained until she passed away. Mad Ann Bailey, a frontier scout and messenger. Ann Bailey, known as Mad Ann, worked as a frontier scout and messenger during the Revolutionary War. Originally from Liverpool, England, Anne sailed to America at the age of 19. After both of her parents died, she eventually married a veteran frontiersman and soldier named Richard Trotter and settled in Staunton, Virginia. Richard, who joined the Virginia militia as tensions between frontiersmen and Native Americans grew, was killed in the Battle of Point Pleasant, West Virginia in late 1774. After learning of her husband's death, Mad Ann showed her mettle. She dressed in buckskin pants and a petticoat, left her son with the neighbors, and sought revenge. With rifle, hunting knife, and a tomahawk in hand, Anne became a scout and a messenger, recruiting volunteers to join the militia and sometimes delivering gunpowder to the soldiers. She carried messages between Point Pleasant and Lewisburg, West Virginia, a 160-mile journey on horseback. Her most famous ride took place in 1791. After soldiers at Fort Lee got word that the Native Americans were planning to attack and discovered that their gunpowder supply was desperately low, Anne galloped to the rescue. She rode the 100 miles to Lewisburg, where she switched horses, loaded up with gunpowder, and rode back to Fort Lee. Her journey was written about in an epic poem by militiaman Charles Robb called Ann Bailey's Ride. Anne remarried to John Bailey, a member of the Rangers, a legendary group of frontier scouts, in 1785. As the group worked to defend new settlements from Native American attacks, Mad Ann once again used her skills as a scout and courier. After her second husband's death, she spent the rest of her days living a solitary life in the woods.